but something that I'm thinking of. You can even put Wilson left, okay?
Yeah.
Wilson left, Zobrist at second base, Baez at short. And then in right field, you can either have Soler or Hayward, which if you're looking for offense, you could even put Soler in there again tonight. Even though he had some defensive miscues tonight, none of them really made a difference.
Yeah.
But I think it's time to get Wilson in there. What else are you waiting for?
Yeah, I mean, it's not like he's been bad either. He's been one of the only guys producing in the playoffs offensively.
Yeah, and
he's had some big RBIs, some big hits. I mean, he's like 5 for 8 or something like that. Like, give him some at bats.
And I think Ross is going to be behind the plate tomorrow. I think it just kind of makes sense with Lackey going and his kind of demeanor and his temperament.
He started the last Lackey start too, so
and he's got a good OBP against lefties. So why not let the old man go?
Yeah, should be interesting.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting.
We didn't get a chance to talk about the Cubs in this last 2 weeks. We basically missed the whole Giants series.
Yeah, we did.
But
which goes to show you cannot give up on this team. And this is the most successful Cubs season that there's the best team that I've seen from the Cubs.
If you watch this team the last 2 years, maybe even 2.5 years, you gotta think they can pull themselves out of this situation. Just from everything you've seen, we've seen them play from deficits all year, and they never seem to lose that little edge they have in their game. So I know it's grim right now, and all the Cubs fan narrative, 1908 narrative stuff is coming into play. But this team is so much different than every other Cubs team that's ever been assembled, and there should be no doubt that they can kind of break out of this slump they're in. So,
yeah, I mean, the bats have to come alive at some point.
Yeah,
I'm hoping they do tomorrow.
I'm still banking on Rizzo just going deep or something and just completely going on a rampage. I think it's going to happen. I think he just needs that one play to kind of get him out of this funk. So
if the Cubs win tomorrow, Fowler and Rizzo both have good games.
Yeah,
I could.
Yeah, I mean, Fowler wasn't great tonight. I think in the entire game, there's only one leadoff runner on, which was pretty disappointing. So, I agree with you. If the Cubs are going to win, guys like Fowler and guys like Rizzo are going to have to play a lot better.
Yep. That's the current state of things. Not too happy over here, but we live to see another day tomorrow and on Thursday as well. So let's just hope for the best moving forward.
And we're Blackhawk fans, so we're kind of used to this. I mean, I saw a lot of people talking about this on Twitter. I know they're not the Cubs, but the Blackhawks were down 2-1 in 2015, and then won that series in 6 games. Down 2-1 in 2013, won that series in 6 games. So I'm saying Cubs in 6. Jonathan Taves, game-winning RBI.
Hey, I said Cubs in 6 at the beginning of this series. Let's hope that continues.
I think if they can get back to Wrigley any way they can, they have a really good shot.
I agree. Let's just get back to Wrigley, one step at a time.
Just come back home. We want you to come back home.
All right, well, you mentioned hockey, so let's talk a little bit of hockey here. How does that sound?
That sounds fantastic.
You welcome that opportunity.
I always welcome that.
Blackhawks with a good win tonight over the Flyers.
Good might be a little strong.
Well, they were up 4-0. They blew that lead.
They scored a touchdown with an extra point.
They did.
So that's good.
But I'll tell you what is good about this game.
What?
Here right now. The second line decided to wake up a little bit after their slow start.
Yeah.
And the Kane, Panarin, and Nisimov line looked like last year's Threesome.
Juggernaut.
Yep.
Yeah.
They clearly. Well, I think they're the best line in hockey.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I don't think there's any questioning it right now. They've been the best line last year in 4 games. So.
Mm-hmm. And so far this season, there's been some of the younger guys making a little bit of noise. Kind of like the key stars being quiet.
Yeah.
And it was good for the Blackhawks to get their key guys going again tonight. Hossa scoring his 500th.
Finally.
Yeah, seriously.
I've literally been waiting for that since the start of last year. I remember someone asked me a question because Ovi, I think, was like 20 goals away from 500 and Hossa was like 13. Right? Maybe it was even more for Ovi. And someone was like, who's going to score their 500 first? And I said, Hossa, and then you know what happens. So.
Yeah, well, doesn't Ovi have like 500, well over 500
yeah,
now, right?
He got it. He got his 500th like maybe a little over halfway through the season, maybe even less. That guy scores goals like nobody's business, but
he does,
yeah, congrats.
He shoots. Shooters shoot.
He shoots a lot. He shoots a whole lot, but that's his game. That's what makes him good. But we're not talking about Alexander Ovechkin.
We're not.
We're talking about another Slovakian. Well, no, he's not Slovakian, but what's Hossa again? He's he's Slovakian.
I'm gonna let you struggle through that, but
I don't remember.
Well, yeah, good for Marian Hossa.
Yeah,
definitely one of the good guys in hockey. Was good
Hall
to see
Famer.
him. Definitely. If he's not a Hall of Famer, I mean, that's been an argument.
We riot.
Yeah, we riot.
Yeah, I mean, there's an argument there against him, but he's a Hall of Famer. Yeah.
He's a Hall of Famer.
You got to really stretch for that one, you know.
Mm-hmm. But I think Hall of Famer, definitely.
Hall of Famer.
But yeah, that second line making noise tonight, which is good to see. And we haven't really talked hockey projections, so I figured tonight we should focus on that a little bit. Why not? Of course, I think the best division in hockey, as well the toughest division in hockey, the Central, with the Nashvilles and Dallases of the world, and of course the St. Louis Blues, Minnesota Wild, and then the Winnipeg Jets and the Chicago Blackhawks, all going for the top 3 spots there. Who do you think makes it in the Central?
Well, I still like the Blackhawks to make it in one of those 3 spots. Nashville is good this year. I think people are overrating Nashville a little bit, though. I've heard a lot of Stanley Cup talk. I'm not sold on that yet. They could win the Central, maybe, but Dallas is still just stacked. So,
yeah, my 3 teams coming out of the Central are Nashville in the 1 spot. The Blackhawks actually grabbing that 2nd spot, and then Dallas below them. So that leaves St. Louis kind of out of the top 3 there.
Yeah. Yeah, I think St. Louis got worse this year. They're not as scary as they were offensively last year. They can't throw 4 lines at you like they were. I'd probably agree that it's going to be Nashville, Chicago, and Dallas in the top 3. And I feel like that ranking could like go any way. Like any one of those teams could win the Central. Mm-hmm. Even the Blues could hypothetically win the Central too. But yeah, like it's a tough division. So
yeah, it's definitely the toughest division. Even like the other division opponents are formidable. Minnesota and Jets.
Yeah, I think Minnesota is probably going to get into the playoffs again. Most likely.
No love for the Jets this year, Blake.
A couple years. I'll give them a couple. I'll say a couple years in their playoff team.
I'll say this: I live with a diehard doesn't even begin to describe it.
That's
Jets fan.
Yeah, Die Hard is a weak.
Yeah, very weak
description of him.
I live with I literally share a room with a Jets fan, and we are heading down to Winnipeg to watch a Blackhawks Jets game, or up to Winnipeg, I should say, Canada.
Geology.
Yep, geology. That's the study of rocks.
Okay. All right, let's just move on.
Geography.
I was in the geography bee in elementary school.
It shows. It really shows. So that's great. Any other NHL predictions you want to make right now before we move forward here?
Yeah. I'll say my Stanley Cup finals. I'll say Tampa Bay going to the finals, playing guess who?
The Blackhawks.
The Blackhawks.
You pick the Blackhawks every year.
I've literally picked them like the last 6 years, but I'm also like 3 for 6, so
good odds. Good odds.
Done pretty good.
Here's my playoff predictions. I made a little list here. I want you to hear them. Coming out of the Central, Nashville, Chicago, Dallas, in that order. Pacific, the Sharks, the Ducks, and the Kings. In the Atlantic, I wasn't really sure, but I know Tampa Bay is going to get there. I think the Habs are going to get there too. Metropolitan, Pens, and the Caps are going to be the top two.
Yep.
And then I'll just go to the wild cards for the East. I think St. Louis and Calgary. I think they get in.
I like Calgary a lot too.
I like Johnny Hockey. He's a good
Hockey
guy. I'm not really quite sure on the East, but I will predict that the Red Wings are not going to the postseason. So
that's actually a pretty out there prediction.
Forget it.
They know how to sneak in. They know how to sneak in.
I just want them to miss. I just want them
every year. I'm like, this is the year. This is the year they're not going to make it. Their stupid streak is going to end. But nope, they always prove me wrong. So I'm going to say they make it.
And also, I want to give you a nod for beating me in fantasy hockey this week. So
yes,
thoughts to you.
Props to you. I'm an expert.
Yeah, I guess you are.
I'm the best.
All right, you want to talk Bears, or do you want to just move on to something maybe a little bit more positive? Or
let me be sad for a little bit longer.
All right, let's be sad,
and then we can kind of get happy.
I kind of get happy.
I
don't know.
Well, I don't know.
All right.
Well, I mean, if we're gonna talk about the Bulls later, like how much happier can you get?
A little happier, I guess, but not much.
We'll get to that. I actually like that Bulls team, but we'll get to that.
All right, Bears blow game to the Jacksonville Jaguars.
What's that team's name again?
Gosh, just hurts my mouth. It's just like that sentence coming out of my mouth. It just hurts badly.
Yeah, they lost to an awful football team this weekend. At home with a lead going into the fourth quarter of double digits. Yep. Or wait. Just so many things that are just horrible. You should never have happened to your football team happen this week. And now we're 1-5. 1-5. That's just awful.
I feel really bad for Alshon Jeffrey. I just shout out to Alshon. I'm sorry you have to go through this.
Endure it and re-sign a contract, and we'll get you a new quarterback. They should have that in the deal. Like, if you sign this, we'll get you another quarterback.
I'm very confident that they will, especially if the season keeps going at this rate.
We've entered lose for the pick mode.
Lose for Watson or Jackson. Who do you want?
Well, if you follow me on Twitter, I've been a Deshaun Watson fan since last year. He's got some issues, but I like Kaiser probably the best. I think he's the best prospect. I don't know if he has the highest ceiling, but